First things first, another fight week, another last few days opponent switch. Talk to me about how you're feeling coming into this one, man.
I feel good, man. I mean, yeah, ideally, you don't really want to have a whole bunch of last minute switch ups, but it's all good. Weight feels good. Feel good about the opponent. It's gonna be a good fight. I think it'll be entertaining for people to watch. So I feel good about it.
We talked to we talked to Kevin earlier this week, and he said that you guys have the same manager, you've been around the same scene a little, but you've never really had much interaction. But he said he's watched your career and kind of kept an eye on you. Is that kind of the same take from you? Have you kind of watched him rise up, or not really?
Somewhat. I know we were. It's just as you said. We haven't really ran into each other or anything like that. I'm not even sure if we've ever fought on the same card before. But yeah, I've noticed Holland a few times too. Um, I wouldn't say I followed like a bunch, but I was definitely aware of him. Anytime I heard that he was fighting or something like that, I'd make sure I watched. So it wasn't like closely following, but I was definitely aware of him and seeing the waves and stuff he was making.
He did mention one time too that he had reached out to you about potentially coming to train with you, and he said you kind of brushed him off that you didn't really want to do that. Is that an accurate take from his perspective, or do you have a different side of that story?
No, man, no. I didn't brush him off. I know what he's talking about though. He was. I actually think if I don't know. I could be remembering wrong. But I believe he had a fight coming up. I don't remember having anything coming up, but I think he had a fight coming up, and he was trying to get some sparring. Um, and I think he hit me up. I think it was on Facebook. He ended up sending me a message and asking to train, and I agreed with it. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, cool." And then we picked a day or whatever, and then we got closer to the day, and something happened. I don't know if it was work related or what, but I just let him know that I wasn't able to do it. Um, and it was kind of left at that. I mean, I didn't think anything of it. I kind of expected him to hit me up again and just say, hey, when can we, do, get the rounds in or whatever. But it kind of got left at that. That's how my memory uh, works as far as how that went. But it was definitely no brushing off. I mean, I'm not even like that. I don't
Sure.
I don't brush people off or anything like that. And I like training. I mean, and he seems like he'd be a good body too. So it wasn't that. I mean, maybe it seemed like that way to him, but if it did, I mean, that was never my intention.
Yeah, maybe after the fight.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. But the matchup itself, he's kind of an interesting style matchup. I think, he likes to do some flashy stuff and kind of talk and laugh and stuff while he's in there. What are you expecting to see out of him when you guys step in the cage on Saturday?
I expect him to be in there trying to have fun. I mean, he seems like when he gets in there, he seems like he's enjoying himself. And he's getting his momentum going and stuff. And I feel like he gets to talking, and it makes him a little more comfortable. He kind of gets I feel like it gives him some sort of momentum. But that's I mean that's what I expect. That's Holland. That's kind of how he fights. That's what he does. You know. So I expect him to do that, and I expect him to move around and be athletic and try to. He has a very carefree fight style, So I expect him to be like that, and I expect him to use his length and for him to be relaxed and trying to have fun. And it's gonna be my job, of course, to not let him do that.
And I know he's been bouncing, between doing fighting at welterweight, fighting at middleweight. And he even said to me that, he turned down a fight against you a while ago because he felt like he wasn't strong enough. It was kind of a strongman competition. So do you feel like you'll have, in the physicality department that will play to your advantage?
Um, we'll see. I mean, I would imagine so. I'd imagine a lot of people would look and say, "Hey, yeah, Trevin's probably gonna be the stronger one, or whatever." But we'll see. I mean, he's a long guy. Um, in mixed martial arts, a lot of times it's how you use your leverage. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, I could be physically stronger than him, but he might be able to use leverage better or whatever. I mean, as long as you know how to use your frame, um, you can do pretty well even against somebody that's stronger than you. So um, we'll see. I mean, I don't think he's weak or anything like that. Like I don't think I'm just gonna grab him and start slinging him all over the place,
Mhm.
nothing like that. But if it comes to me having to power through something, I believe I'll be able to do that. But I mean, it'll just depend on what he's doing.
Last question for me. How do you see yourself getting it done on Saturday?
I don't know. So he's because of his style, it can happen a lot of ways. Like it can happen different ways. Everybody wants a knockout. You know, that's always great. It's great for fans. Fans love it. Um, but I think I can do it in many different ways. I think I can get submissions. I can get a knockout. Um, I can pull away the decision as well. Not really looking forward to a decision. Um, that's not really my style. But if it happens, you know, it is what it is. He's a great fighter. Win over Kevin Holland is a good win. You know, so I don't know. I don't know. It could happen anyway. We're just gonna have to see.
Appreciate the time, man. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question is from Gabriel Gonzalez with Gateside Press.
Hey, Trevin, you talked a bit about the history with you and Kevin a little bit. Is this the Battle of Texas? You know, being Fort Worth and him Houston?
I think
Is that just a coincidence?
I think it's a coincidence, man. I think that people, I mean, it's something that's interesting to throw into the mix, you know, just because we're both from Texas, and to say, oh, you know, this is a battle between cities or something like that. I mean, I don't see it that way. He probably doesn't see it that way either. I think it's exciting that me and him are from Texas and we get to go in there and throw down. But yeah, no, it's not a battle between cities or nothing like that. I don't know. No, I don't think so.
You've gotten to see a lot of events take place by now. People talk about no fans, the testing, the quarantine before the fight in the room. I guess now that you're in it, did it live up to your expectations? Do you feel like, oh, it wasn't as tough as I thought it was going to be? How is it for you?
No, it's not that tough. I think that it's definitely strict, but it's something it's more than bearable. You know, I love the rooms and stuff that we have here. It makes it a little bit easier to quarantine. You know, we got, you know, it's kind of like an apartment setup and stuff. So, and it's not like we have to stay in the room all day or anything like that. We have times where you know, we can, as long as we get back our negative results, so we can start moving around and doing what we want to do. But for the most part, I mean, I think it's kind of good. It kind of keeps you from being distracted. Kind of be a little more focused on the fights or whatever, or just relax more and not be moving around so much. So for most of my camps, it's not. I don't go out and do a whole bunch of anything anyway before fights. You know, it's all about business. I'm not in Vegas right now to have you know, to be out here having a bunch of fun and stuff. You know, I'm here to fight on Saturday and win and then have some fun. You know, so for most of the week, it's not about being on vacation anyway. So it's been fine for me.
You bring up being in Vegas, you know, so perfect situation. You go out there Saturday, you get the win, but a lot of stuff in Vegas is closed. Would you be somebody who has an after party anyway, or are you more a guy to take it back to the hotel and keep it chill?
Man, yeah. After my fights, I go to sleep, man. I like to go home, lay down, go to sleep. There's been enough. I mean, for me, a fight is enough action for one day, you know. So I take that and I'm happy with it. I might you know, talk to everybody and, you know, say hey to anybody that came out. Obviously, we're not gonna have audience and stuff, but, you know, I'll probably just be sitting at the hotel talking to the cornerman, talking about what happened, and, you know, this was great and that was great and he did this, and, you know, just going over the fight and talking about that experience. But yeah, I usually just take it back to the hotel and chill out. Maybe party the next day.
I hear you. Thank you.
Next question is from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Hey, Trevin, the last time around, you got James Krause on 24 hours notice, and everyone's talking about this being short notice. But after going through that, does it feel like you've had like way more time to prepare for Kevin Holland, considering what you went through with your last fight?
No, not really. I get to, yeah, well, I get to sit and watch a little more film and stuff and get more into the mindset of fighting Holland than I did with Krause, because Krause was like hours notice and stuff. So I think just the mental part of it, just the mental part of saying, okay, well, opponent had switched. All right, so coming to grips with that, and then seeing who the opponent is, watching him and stuff, and get my mind geared towards, okay, well, this is who I'm fighting now. Now he's long, and he's this, he's that. So I kind of get more time to do that to get myself mentally acclimated to fighting him specifically.
You earned a fight of the night in that fight with James Krause, and I'm sure you probably prefer performance of the night. That way you don't have to get engaged in a bit of a war. But Kevin is one of those guys who's very durable. Even in his debut, with Thiago Santos, he managed to go 3 rounds with a very, very good guy. Do you kind of anticipate it could be that kind of fight? You could be involved in another battle with this one.
To me, you just never know, man. I mean, this sport can a number of things can happen. It's very unpredictable. But with his style and his durability and stuff like that, yeah, it's possible. It's definitely possible. We're both athletic. We're both quick and stuff like that. I think that it's definitely possible. I think it's possible with a lot of fighters. These days there aren't a lot of slouches in the UFC. So it's always possible, man. One day you can take a shot, and next day you can't. So it's just going to depend. Yeah, but it's a possibility.
And it was well documented before your last fight in Houston, your day job, what you do. And that was kind of one of the last cards we got to see with the crowd and fans and everything, which I know is a special moment for you. But how has the job been, during the pandemic and staying ready for a fight? Because obviously you're in a much different position than, somebody going to an office job or something.
Yeah. So, my side of town that I work on is crazy anyway. It's always somebody doing something, so it's always busy at work. But as far as preparation goes, it hasn't gotten away too much. I usually train and do all my sparring and everything in the morning, and then go ahead and head to work in the evening. So it doesn't really get in the way of my training much.
Was there any hesitation to fight during this time just because of, again, you have a pretty serious job for the pandemic, obviously you're, first responder on the job and things like that. I know, when Steve Miocic talked about it as a firefighter, again, you're right in the center of it. You can't avoid it in your job. Was there any part of you that didn't want to fight during the pandemic, or did you always have it in mind to want to fight this time?
There was a part of me that didn't want to fight, just because I have a family to think about. I don't want to come back home and bring anything home. But since I'm kind of already in that predicament all the time at work, it's my job to respond to people that are having issues, whether you have COVID or not. And sometimes we're just not going to know. If something's going on or somebody's doing something, and I got to arrest somebody or grab somebody or something, like, you don't know if they have COVID or what. You got to kind of figure that out later. But we just protect ourselves the best as we can. And like I said, I'm kind of already in that predicament every day at work. It's probably a lot safer right now. I'm probably at less of a risk to catching COVID than I would be at work. So it's something in me said no, but then reasoning with myself, and the UFC seems like they're doing a great job right now of keeping everybody separate and stuff too. So it's not such a bad idea fighting right now.